Hi there, this is Tina from Truthbombs&Tea, and today we're looking at the topic of how to be happy. It is a big topic, so let's get started. So, happiness means different things to each of us. What makes me happy does not necessarily make you happy, and vice versa. Happiness is also not permanent 100% of the time, even though sometimes we might wish it so. We often find that the times when we're not happy is the biggest time that we have for personal growth, that sometimes the challenges and the stresses, kind of like a muscle, is what gets strengthened. So, whilst we're not happy 100% of the time, we do want to be able to try to create a life that is mostly happy, okay? Mostly sunshine rather than rain. Happiness is a choice. It really is. It sometimes triggers people to hear that because we all have excuses and valid excuses as well to say, well, we can't be happy because our boss is a toxic asshole. We can't be happy because, you've got an illness. And all of those are very valid conditions. But what I would invite you to consider is that choosing the happiest path in each of those instances, even if it's only slightly happier, does make a difference to the crisis or the situation. So, choosing to be happy or as happy as possible will elevate any situation, may not eliminate the situation, but our attitude towards the situations in our life and the people in our life have a profound impact on our level of happiness. And that comes back to a deliberate choice and commitment to be happy. And finally, no one can tell you how to be happy. And I'm certainly not going to do that today. But what I am going to do is help you find your happy. So, what is your happy? 3 tools are going to be shared today. And the first tool is going to give you a lot of clarity on what truly matters to you. And when we live according to what truly matters, our happiness levels automatically just rise. The second tool is going to give you confidence in making important decisions in your life. And the third tool is going to help you to create a really well rounded, fulfilling, and meaningful life. So, between these 3 tools, you will find that using them will help you to create naturally and authentically the most fulfilling and happy life possible. So, by the way, I've got a bit of a cold. So, if you hear me maybe pausing a little, it's because I'm trying to clear my throat, or you might be able to hear the raspiness. But it's important to share this, so I soldier on. So, if we all want to be happy, why can it be so hard to be happy? Well, there's 3 very powerful influences that really shape the level of happiness that we have, how we look at the world, and also the permission that we give ourselves to be happy. And these influences are family of origin, society's expectations, and partner choices or significant others that we spend time with in our lives. So let's look at family of origin. So all families are different. Even if they're all related, each family is like a fingerprint. So there's different spoken rules, unspoken rules. There's different ways of communicating. There's different ways of showing love and affection. So very nuanced. So I want you to consider what happiness meant in your family. Or was there a lack thereof? Or was happiness considered to be a frivolous thing? Or was the pursuit of happiness all there was? Have a think about and reflect upon that in your family of origin. Society's expectations. So every era has a gold standard of aspirational living And maybe in the 50s, it was kind of the Stepford Wives situation where the husband went out to work and the woman stayed at home and raised the children, and the kids were like out in the yard and they loved school and the white picket fence and all of that sort of thing. If we look at today, according to my understanding anyway, and I'd love to hear your comments down below. It seems to be that power, money, influence is what you aspire to. So the more money you have, the more power you have, the more valued you are. And if you can throw a little bit of being famous in there, well, then you've won the lottery. Okay, that's what you really need to be doing. And not all of us aspire to that, and not all of us want to adhere to what society thinks we should be doing at any given time. But nonetheless, we are immersed in our culture, and a lot of us have a herd mentality. So if, skinny jeans are the things, well, then we're all in skinny jeans. If, farm to table restaurants are the go, everyone goes to the farm to table. So I invite you to have a think about how society is and has influenced you. And maybe you have stepped out a little bit as an outlier to start thinking for yourself as to what suits you. And of course, partner choices. Now, this not just doesn't include romantic partners, although romantic partners are a significant influence because family is influential up to about, I was going to say about 18, but these days kids stay home till they're about 30. So, let's call it even for the partner choices, and the family. But generally, you spend more time with your partner than you do with your family of origin, okay, if things go well. So we also include significant people such as the people you spend the most time with. There's a study that showed that you are the average or the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So have a think about that in terms of partner choices and significant others. If you surround yourself with people who are growth mindset minded, they're positive, they think everything's figure outable, they have great communication skills, they set personal goals and achieve them, then you're going to be sort of lifted up with that, like a rising tide lifts all boats. Similarly, if you are constantly surrounded by criticism, naysayers, depressives, glass half empty people, that's going to rub off on you as well. So I want you to think about those influences and how they play a role in the happiness of your life. Okay. So the first tool is one that I was very lucky to have experienced in 1994. Yes, I am outing myself there as a senior citizen, I guess. And it was while I was teaching, and our principal was someone I really admired and was inspired by, and he was a leader in the true sense of the word. He wanted to create leaders in his staff, not just followers and managers. And so we were able to take part in the full 7 Habits of Highly Effective People course by Stephen Covey. And that course came off the back of his absolutely best-selling book of the same name. So I want you to take a pen and pad and find 10 to 20 minutes somewhere quiet. Okay. And I want you to visualize your funeral. And when I've done this with other people, some people feel like they see themselves hovering on the ceiling. Some people see themselves just sitting in a chair unobserved. Whichever works for you, please do so. But I want you to really see, hear, and feel as each person comes up to the lectern or stands up to speak about you, what ideally you would love them to say. So it's, hopefully it's what is the reality at the moment. But even if it's not, what I want you to do and invite you to do is to think about, you know, what would make you proud for them to say, even if perhaps right at this minute that may not be the reality, because this is what's truly in your heart of hearts. So you're going to have the closest people to you come up first. Each one comes separately. And I want you to hear what they say about you in terms of, your traits and qualities that they loved, the kind of relationship that you had with them, how you made them feel, what sorts of things inspired them with your goals, for example. What did you achieve? What was the impact on them? So each person comes up and I want you to jot down what they are saying about you. And again, this is ideally what you would love them to say, what would make your heart full, and what would make you proud to hear about yourself. After the intimate, most important people, you will have, the secondary layer of people, which is your coworkers, maybe somebody that you see regularly at, say, a volunteer meeting like Meals on Wheels, those sorts of things. And then, of course, you might have people that you see, semi regularly, if you want to include those, at a book club or somebody that you have an occasional coffee with. You choose the people that are in your visualization. But the point of it is to really hear what your heart and soul want them to have experienced with you and through you. And so you should have now a legacy document, and that legacy document is full of the way you truly want to live your life and the way you truly want to be remembered. And the reason why this legacy document is so powerful is because you don't have to wait till you die. Now you know what's important. Now you know the important people and the kinds of experiences you want to have. You can start to craft your life accordingly so that when that day comes that we all shuffle off this mortal coil, we will have the least regrets as possible and the most fulfilling life as possible with as much happiness. So that's your document. And from that document, we're going to move on to tool number 2. So you'll go through that document and you'll see some repeating themes, and these themes are your values. So I want you to pull those values out. They could be things like um, connection or, quality or one-on-one time or, goal orientation. Okay, so you'll have a list of themes and I want you to pick the top 5. Okay, because core values represent what you stand for and what you stand against and what you think is important truly and what you don't, what you're against. Okay, so my 5 core values, to give you an example, are truth, creativity, freedom, connection, and ongoing learning. And the reason why we want to choose the top 5 is because they will provide really clear goalposts and guidelines when we move through life making important decisions. So I'm not talking about like, should you have oat milk latte today instead of regular milk? I'm talking about things like changing jobs, developing an intimate relationship, important decisions to do with your children, or illness, or moving countries or moving house. They're the kinds of things. And most of us really kind of do an analysis paralysis. We're too scared to make the mistakes. We dither. But your core values will give you a really clear yes or no. So I'll give you a quick example. If I was to, when I started this business, I wanted to incorporate as many core values as possible. And if you briefly look back at those: truth, creativity, freedom, connection, and learning, all 5 of those values are present in this business. And that's why I love it so much. And that's why it comes easy to me, because the more values that you can guide your life by, the more authentic you feel and the easier your decisions are. So pull those top 5 values out for yourself and they will become your guiding lights. And the final tool is the life wheel. So the life wheel is an assessment or an overview of your life. Studies have shown that when we are looking at our life, that a well-rounded life, a life that is wide and deep and rich of experiences provides the most happiness. So the life wheel provides a really good bird's eye view of your life. And most of us do need to zoom out a little bit because we're so stuck in the daily grind and the minutiae that oftentimes our life becomes on autopilot or by default. So if you have a look at the wheel, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, I'll read them for you. They're relationships, health, finances, personal growth, family, spirituality, recreation, and career. So in each of those areas, we do a score from 1 to 10. 1 being very unhappy and dissatisfied with that area, and 10 being, really happy and satisfied with that area. Full disclosure, I've never done a 10. I think that's because 10 means it's perfect, and there is no such thing in life. There's no perfect life, and there's no perfect happiness either. But being honest, you look at each area of your life and you give it a rating. On this example, I have, a few that are quite high, 9s and 8s. If it's high, for example, 9 for the family, this means that you are really, really happy and satisfied. You're getting a lot of meaning from this, that you've put a lot of attention, intention, and energy in, and the quality of that area is really good and it's meeting your needs. If there's a lower one, for example, health is rated 5 in this example, then that means that, you could do with a bit of work. So when you have identified one area and the emphasis is on one here, you choose that area to work on. Then you write down 1 small, achievable, measurable goal. 2, if you're an overachiever, and then you take action on it and timetable it. So I'll give you an example. Say in the health area, you want to start meal prepping instead of, buying food out all the time. That's an easy goal or a measurable goal. So you're going to meal prep your own food. Then you're going to timetable it, which is every Saturday morning, you're going to go to the shops at, say, you know, anywhere from 7 till 9 a.m. So you put 7 a.m., let's take an arbitrary time. You're going to early bird it and get to the shops early. Put that in the calendar and in the phone alarm. Okay. That's the time component. Now we're going to habit stack. So on Friday night, after your week's done and you've watched your Netflix, you have a hot beverage or a glass of wine, you're going to write down what you want to cook. So you're going to plan it out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. You're going to have this, 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 and this. And then you're going to do your ingredient list out. Okay. You could even choose to wake up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and just spend that hour having a coffee in the morning, 7 till 8, and writing out your meal plan and the ingredients that you'll need. It doesn't really matter when you do it. It matters that you do it to help this habit stack up and support you. So now you've got your time, you've got the little ritual of planning the meals that you want and the ingredients, and you may even add a little extra incentive because sometimes grocery shopping, etc., is not very engaging or enticing. You may then say you're going to meet up with your friend for a coffee after the grocery shop. So you kind of attach something pleasurable to kind of the drudgery. So that's just an example, but I hope you understand the gist, which is one area, one goal or 2 at the most, timetabling that goal, and then adding habits to support that goal. Then you can come back and do a rating once that habit is established. And you can continue in that area if you think it still needs a better rating and a bit more elevation. Otherwise, you can choose another area and then repeat the process. So in conclusion, the begin with the end in mind exercise, write it down, do that exercise, and that's your legacy document. It's a beautiful way, and it's kind of like you've jumped timelines, you've quantum leaped. You're not waiting until the last gasp. You're actually creating your life and reverse engineering what you truly want in the now. And yet ahead of 99% of people if you do this. From that document, write down those values. They will give you the confidence that you need to make the decisions that contribute to your happiness. And then do the life wheel and choose one area to work on. And then you can go back and review and repeat the process. So this is powerful, guys. I've done this, and I've done this with quite a few people, and it makes a profound effect on their life and on their happiness. So until we speak again, let's make the rest of our life the best of our life.